Comment ça va, chef? Welcome to the Bon Ton Cooking Show. I'm Chef Harley Fontenot, and I'm the parrain. Everything you're gonna need is all right here, but let me just run it down for you real quick. We got some mushrooms, we got parsley, some fettuccine noodles, some garlic, some oil to fry that. Then we got some butter, we got some shredded cheese, some heavy cream, some white wine, some seasoning, and some payal comme ça, some swamp dust. And last but not least, we got that crawfish ball. Now let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is ball them noodles. Alright, so you always wanna put a little bit of oil in that. That keeps the noodles from sticking together. And as you can see, we already got our pot boiling. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start putting them noodles in there. And it's really like this with any type of noodle, but with fettuccine especially, they stick together real easy. So what we're gonna do is fan them things in there like that. Comme ça. Be careful for your little fingers not to get burnt right there. See, I know they're hanging out the pot, but as they cook down, they're gonna fall into there. You can kind of help it along a little bit. And once they all get soft, that's when you really want to start mixing them up. So if you don't, them things gonna be stuck together, and that's possible. So we're gonna get to some other things, but don't forget to keep stirring your noodles. There's a surefire way to test that noodle when it's cooked. Now, what it should do is you payal comme ça that thing against the wall, and if it sticks, that's ready. Now you feed that to your dogs because I ain't about to eat that noodle. So now you got your little bit of oil at the bottom of that pot and it's heating up. We're gonna put the bell peppers, onions, and mushrooms, not the garlic yet. And we're gonna saute that. Alright, so we're gonna do kind of like we've been doing everything else. We're gonna cook this down till the onions are kind of clear. So stir that up, get it all mixed real good, then let it cook down. Now as you can see, everything's cooked down real good. Starting to get a little brown tips on your shrooms. Now the next thing we're gonna do when it's hot like this, but be careful not to burn them little fingers, we're gonna put some wine in that. And a little wine in the cook. Ooh. So after you put that wine, you want to mix all them gramis at the bottom of the pot. And your wine's going to cook into your vegetables. It almost don't look like you put any at all, but trust me, it adds a lot of flavor to that. And we're going to plop a stick of butter in there like that. And let that melt in there. What's good food without a bunch of butter in there? Because I'm your chef, not your doctor. Now once you got your butter melted in there with your wine and all your vegetables except for the garlic, we're gonna go ahead and add your 2 quarts of heavy whipping cream. Then we're gonna add, see I chopped up that whole thing of garlic, but we're gonna only use like half of that, that's a lot. And you might have a little bit of butter floating to the top, but that's alright. It's gonna all come together, trust me. Now that's gonna take a while to cook, so I'm gonna tell y'all a little something. One day, Boudreaux was cleaning his P-roll, and Thibodeau come up to him and told him like, look Boudreaux, I got some good news and I got some bad news. He said, well give me the bad news first. He said, we found your wife, she's dead, she's floating down the bayou. He said, oh no man, like what could be the good news out of that? She had 10 blue crabs on and we running her again tomorrow. Okay, so once it comes to a good boil, it's gonna start rising up to the top. So what you're gonna have to do is turn it down a little bit because you don't want it to make a mess on your pretty little stove like that. And what we're doing right here is just kind of reducing it a little bit. But while that's happening, we're gonna add some seasonings. You all know, like most Cajun chefs, like your grandma and all that, don't measure. So y'all just watch close. You can see about the size of this pot compared to my hand, but I got a big hand. So you want a little bit of Cajun seasoning. It's like your salt. Except I use the bold Tonus, by the way, because it doesn't have as much salt as the regular one. The regular one's just too salty. Then you want to go kind of heavy on your onion powder and your garlic powder. Then you want to put a little bit of black pepper and a good pinch of crab ball. But that's the best crab ball they got, I'll tell you what. Alright, so make sure when you season it to dip your little spoon in there and taste it the way it tastes, the way you want it to be. But make sure you don't add too much of the salty stuff, because cheese naturally has a salty flavor to it too. So you gotta account for that. Now, you can give that a good stir to where you can see that black pepper a little bit. And you can see it's starting to get a little thick. So we're gonna cook that down a little bit longer, then we're gonna add our cheese. Alright, when you can see that the cream has cooked down to where it almost wants to stick to your spoon like that, it's time to add the cheese. So the thing with cheese is you want to put a little bit at a time on a low heat, because once it gets hot and keeps heating, it'll start separating and stuff, especially the stuff that's already shredded in the bag like that. Some people make fettuccine and it looks like noodles sitting in a bowl of milk, and that's not Cajun. Let me tell you something. If your fettuccine ain't thick, don't invite me for dinner, because I like my fettuccine like I like my women. I'm gonna add a little bit more before that sauce cools off. And you're gonna mix that up. Now this whole time you're probably wondering, "Mais pare, where's the crawfish if it's supposed to be crawfish fettuccine?" Well, I'll tell you right now. You gotta add the seafood at the end, because what'll happen is if you add it too soon, it'll get all tough, but you want to keep that nice and supple. Look at how thick that is. Now you can see it firsthand. Pare only wishes you could smell it, because Lord have mercy. Now we're gonna add them crawfish in there like this. And by the time you do this, you're almost done. The main thing we gotta add now is some fresh cut Italian parsley. Now that we got our parsley all chopped up, you want to shovel that in there. Because yes, it's going to make it look pretty, but what's really happening is it's adding some extra flavor to that. Now, that sauce is so thick, it looked like some queso at the Mexican restaurants. But that's 100% Cajun right here. After your sauce cooks down for a little while, say a couple minutes, just enough to get them crawfish ready, we're gonna add our noodles. So it's okay if your noodles got a little cold while you was waiting for your sauce to cook, because the sauce is gonna heat up the noodles, so it don't really matter much. So what we're gonna do here is gently fold all the noodles over in there. And at this point you can turn that pot completely off. Now you see how thick that is and how everything's sticking together real good, and listen at that. Creamy. Now it's time to mange.
Sauce bon.
Thank y'all for watching. Y'all join us next time, because we're making some steak in the gravy and some purple hull peas, and we got that sausage and that tassel to put in that, so that's gonna be good. Now, until next time, Power Rand loves you.